Welcome everyone to Gamer Melt. Today I've got a whole lot of stories to cover, starting with AMD going after Nvidia. Old GPU makers are back, Nvidia's next GPU, Windows 10 is done, and Intel goes Ultra. Okay, it's news time, but really quickly before I get to it, I just have to say thank you to everyone yet again for the fact that we reached past 300,000 subscribers. It really is incredible, and I can't thank all of you enough. I'm really just shocked and thankful every single day at how many of you watch my videos. And of course, if you aren't subscribed but you love PC hardware, news, and reviews, make sure you subscribe to Gamer Melt. Okay, first up for today, we have a story that was originally tweeted by a marketing director at AMD. And as you can see right here, it says, our AMD Radeon 16GB gaming experience starts at $499. And when we look down here, you can see the RX 6800 non-XT now starts at $499. And just like the XT variant, it comes with 16GB of GDDR6. Now compare that to Nvidia, and even their newest RTX 4070 only comes with 12GB, but is a whopping $100 more, and then of course a 3070 comes with 8GB. Now when we look, we can actually see that there are cards quite a bit less than that number. You can see that we have cards by Gigabyte, ASRock, MSI, all below that $500 price point, $484.99 for both of these, and then as low as $449.99 for the MSI card. And not only that, but you actually get a free game, I believe, yep, it is the Last of Us, the newest Last of Us game you get free with the purchase. So definitely not a bad deal, though of course keep in mind that when we look at performance, you can see that at rasterization, when compared to the 4070, it does get a bit under the 4070 at rasterization, and it does do quite a bit worse when we're looking at ray tracing. You can see here 40 FPS versus 31, so that is a pretty large difference, but at the same time, like I mentioned before, when we look at games like The Last of Us Part 1, you can see that cards with lower 8GB of VRAM do very poorly. The 3070 here at 1440p gets 1% lows of 12 FPS, then at 4K we're talking 7 FPS, while the 6800 is getting 53. Not only that, but as they mentioned, even at 1080p on Ultra, it still doesn't do well. Now I know a lot of you are going to say that The Last of Us Part 1 is a really poor PC port, and that may very well be the case, but we've seen this in other games as well, and it's likely set to just get even worse as time goes on. Of course, if you are willing to spend a little bit more on the 4070, it may be worth it. I mean, it does come with 12GB, but it could end up being a problem in the future. Either way, if you're interested, I'll have a few of those deals down in the description below. They're affiliate links, so they don't cost you anything more, but it helps the channel out. And next up for today, we finally have some launch information on Nvidia's next RTX 4060 Ti. As you can see down here, just like what we saw before with some of Nvidia's past cards, we have embargo information for their 4060 Ti. Right off the bat, you'll actually notice that it's the 4060 Ti and 4060, but everything for the 4060 is simply to be determined. With that said, the cards are going to start shipping out to the channels May 5th with the actual embargo date, product announcement, as well as on-shelf date set for the end of May. But the exact date, as you can see, is to be determined. If you haven't been watching the channel, you may not know the specs that have leaked out so far, and just like the 4070 Ti, these are probably fairly accurate. We've definitely been getting a lot of really accurate specs leaked for these upcoming 40 series GPUs, but of course, as of now, they are still just rumors. But as you can see, for the CUDA cores of the 4060 Ti, we're looking at 4,352 cores, the base clock of 2310 MHz with a boost clock of 2535 MHz. This is set to be an 8GB card with GDDR6 memory across a fairly measly 128-bit bus. This means 288 GB per second memory bandwidth, and it comes with a TDP of 160 watts. Obviously, we'll have to try out the card before I can give any kind of definitive answer as to how good it is, but it does look like it's quite a bit less than the 4070. And next up for today, we have a really interesting story concerning older GPU makers coming back to, well, make GPUs. Starting things off, we have Sparkle, which was an old Nvidia AIB partner, and they've actually announced 3 Intel Arc GPUs. You can see right here that we have the Titan, the Orc, and the Elf. The Titan card is based on the A750, and it comes with 8 GB of GDDR6 with boost clocks up to 2300 MHz and 28 Xe cores. Then we have the A750 Orc, which is also 8 GB of GDDR6, though with only 2200 MHz. Given this is the A750, it obviously comes with the same 28 Xe cores, but as you can see, there is certainly a difference in cooling. The Orc is only a dual fan cooler, while the Titan is a triple fan. Finally is the lower end A380 Elf. This one comes with, of course, 6 GB of GDDR6 and only has 2000 MHz boost clock with 8 Xe cores. But that's actually not the only GPU maker that's come back. This time it's Matrox, which is actually an older GPU maker, not just a board partner, but they flat made GPUs, and they have sort of been making GPUs more since then. They just aren't on the higher end spectrum of things. But as you can see, they also released Intel Arc GPUs. As you can see down here, they are all based on the A3 series. We're talking the A310, the Arc A310, and Arc A380. And the A310, by the way, these are called their Luma cards, and the A310 and A310F are low profile GPUs. The A310F relies on a blower type design, but the A310 uses a passive cooler. Then we have the Luma A380 card, which, as the name suggests, is an A380. This comes with 6 GB of GDDR6, while the A310 cards come with 4 GB. And while it is a full height card, it is still single slot. Now, I will say these aren't really made for gaming. They're very low end cards, but of course you can likely do at least a little bit of gaming with that. But it definitely is interesting to see these older GPU makers coming back for Intel. Unfortunately, there is a bit of bad news today, as Windows 10 is basically done. As you can see down here, this comes from PC Gamer, but the latest Windows client roadmap actually confirms that the current version of Windows 10, which is version 22H2, is set to be the final version of the OS. As you can see right here, Microsoft actually stopped selling Windows 10 licenses at the end of January of this year, 2023. So therefore, obviously, system builders don't really have any kind of choice in operating system. And we now find out that the latest version of Windows 10 is the final version of Windows 10. Luckily, they are still going to be doing certain things until the end of support, the EOS date, which is October 4th, 2025. So there is a bit of time left before security updates are completely done. But as far as actual new features, Windows 10 is over. Basically, if you aren't already on Windows 11, you may want to go ahead and jump ship. It obviously is unfortunate for those who really like Windows 10 and don't really care for certain features in Windows 11 and would just rather stay on Windows 10. Of course, like I said, you can stay there until October 14th, 2025. And ultimately, you can obviously stay later, but it's typically not suggested just because you definitely do want those monthly security updates. And lastly for today, it looks like Intel is going Ultra. What started out as more or less just a rumor, as you can see down here in this Ashes of the Singularity benchmark, they're listed in Intel Core Ultra 5 CPU. Well, it looks like it has been confirmed. As you can see right here, Bernard Fernandez, who is the Director of Global Communications at Intel Corporation, just confirmed those rumors. He states, quote, "Yes, we are making brand changes as we're at an inflection point in our client roadmap in preparation for the upcoming launch of our Meteor Lake processors. We will provide more details regarding these exciting changes in the coming weeks." But of course, this more or less kind of confirms what they're going to be doing. Instead of Core i5, Core i7, Core i9, it's going to be something like Core Ultra 9, Core Ultra 7, Core Ultra 5, Ultra 3. Of course, this is more or less just a rebranding, a branding change, but this is a pretty big deal given Intel has been using the i5, i3, i7 moniker for years now. Either way, we'll be finding out more soon, and they're going to be coming with their next generation Meteor Lake, so not too far off. So while that does it for today, what do you think about this new rebranding by Intel? And are you sad to see Windows 10 go? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you liked the video, please subscribe, and as always, have a great day.